we're back. Setup looks a little different this time.
As you can see, we have 2 hands on 1 controller. They're just from different people.
So we're gonna do some high skill 2P1C petting. So we're at 25 each. So is that 5 each from us, or do these count as double from us?
All right. I think we're well over 30 in total, so whatever you think, I think is good. You can do 5 now, and then maybe 5 after you finish the run to bookend it nicely. What a good boy.
Vibrational.
Yeah, I just noticed now that we need to change our controls.
Right.
But that's actually a nice chance to explain how we do them, which we'll get to in a second. Think we have one more pet?
I think so. I think this is 5.
I'll chime in that while they were doing, it's fascinating that they're showing in sync with the 2-player 1 controller, because we were doing some testing earlier when we were practicing, and they like switched setups and had to use each other's controller binds, and they were just yelling back and forth like, "Why is this button here?
Yeah.
Why would you put that there? I don't know. Where's your button for this?" But they can do this just fine.
Yeah,
so
it
works
is
out.
really impressive just how good they are at this. I've tried this a couple times with just other friends, and it is incredibly hard. They make it look easy. They're like top 20 in the world for 3-weps on 2P1C. I don't know how they did that, but it is just an incredible display of skill and also just being on the same page.
Yeah, to be clear, that's not top 20 of people doing 2 players, 1 controller. That's top 20
Yeah.
of every Hades runner
Like-
with the 2 players, 1 controller.
Yeah. And we're good to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to count
You
them
want to
off?
count us in?
Okay. We're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so we're going to be starting this run with Achilles. And if you know a little bit about Hades speedrunning, you might know that Achilles is one of the more technical aspects. You push a lot of buttons, which, surprise, surprise, I like doing. But something that's funny is that it's actually easier for us to play the technical aspects rather than the slower ones, because for the slower ones, your decisions are more impactful each time you make them. Whereas with Achilles, it does low base damage, so you have to hit things a lot of times anyway. So for a little off sync, it's not too bad, but if we're off sync on like Beowulf or something, each one of those decisions is like kind of a big mistake.
Yep, so I've got the left side of the controller, so I'm handling the movement and like the interact button and summoning Megara. Small things, mostly movement. And Lapras is on the right side, and she has all the buttons.
Yeah, I get a special, I get an attack, I get a cast, I get a call if we get one.
So was there a learning curve to this at all for you two, or was it very easy to kind of get it going when you started trying it?
I think the first time we tried it with our other hands, and it went very poorly.
Yeah, I remember that stream.
Yeah, and then the next run we just swapped, and I don't know, it just worked. I can't tell you why it worked.
That's interesting.
We've got the same brain cell mod attacks in the top right-hand corner.
The other thing I will say is, in the past runs that you've done this, you've been basically talking to each other the entire time about like what to do, and you're not doing that here. So is that just something you developed, or how'd that happen?
Generally, we have like the same thought process on what items to pick, what boons to go for. Generally, when we talk, we're just really just conferring what the other person's thinking.
So wait, so with one on the left, one on the right, that means one of you is selecting the boon even in the menu, and the other one's accepting it?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's and you were doing some, and yeah, I saw you were doing some like scroll through the bottom over the reroll button. That's dangerous.
Sure.
But you're in sync enough, you follow each other's decisions and stuff. Well, because a huge part of Hades, and I would argue almost more than half of it is understanding what boons to take, when you should take them, what you should be building towards, what you should palm, all that stuff. Like it's a hugely decision-based game in terms of speedrunning, in terms of getting your build good enough to the point where you can execute. So it's very, very impressive that they're basically cooperating on both halves of that.
Especially on, I know they say that the more technical aspects means mistakes are less impactful, but at the same time, those aspects do also have many more build paths. So, with Bayo and Hera, for instance, there's really aren't that many ways that we build them in the speedrun community. But, with Achilles, there are so many more different places you can take it. So it is very impressive that they're on the same page to this extent.
Yeah, you may or may not be noticing just the small hesitations. Like I think if you've run the game before, you can kind of see, or if you're just seeing from their previous gameplay, you can see the small hesitations where they're saying like, "Oh, do you want to buy this?" Or like, "Oh, should we pick this up?" But it's really, really imperceptible, and just like this is a very clean Furies fight even.
Yeah, I don't think I could be this clean on
to Symphony is the fight where you take this is the fight where you take damage. This is like where you say, "Okay, I'm going to lose 50 HP." I don't think they've gotten hit yet.
Yeah, Elena, why are you?
Wow. Fantastic, no hits.
I didn't even notice.
Elena, I think your face tanking a lot less damage than you do in your normal gameplay.
Yeah, one of the things about 2PC that you're going to see a lot of is we will prioritize health a lot more highly than when we're 1P, 1C. And that's just because we're not as coordinated as a single player, and we're going to take a lot more damage, especially on Achilles. We haven't really talked too much about Achilles itself, but as cgull mentioned earlier, with Eris, when we're dashing on our arm a lot, we're going to be getting hit a lot. So Achilles does tend to be one of the more dangerous aspects.
Because while your dash does give you invincibility frames in Hades, those invincibility frames are canceled out as soon as you hit the attack button and initiate a dash strike, which is Achilles' bread and butter. So you're very rarely having an empty dash where, I wouldn't take that either. You're very rarely getting that opportunity.
Yep. The other thing about Achilles that you'll note is a lot of their movement is coming from the special that's essentially just being aimed and then fired and then they dash to it, or essentially, except it isn't really a dash. So about half of, maybe a little less than half, but maybe a third of their mobility isn't actually getting any of those iframes. So when you special, you're moving really quickly, but you can still get hit by attacks.
What else we got?
Oh, that's interesting. I mentioned earlier the Hermes, or that Hermes is kind of the god of swiftness. So I actually got a voice line there because this save file doesn't have we have the real-time timer on, but we turn the in-game timer off. And Hermes actually has some voice lines for that. He's very speedrunning minded. He comments when you get a PB. He comments when you've started timing yourself. He comments when you've turned it off. Like, okay, you don't want the pressure. I get it. He even has an option. He's like, hey, if you want to go faster, I'll stop talking. You want me to stop talking? But we usually don't click that because we like him, and you can skip through his dialogue fast enough. Right, as we're finishing up Asphodel, here we've probably got some time for a few donations.
All right, go Zeus.
Absolutely. We have $50 from Malnor Malulo, who says, why does Eurydice only use strained yogurt in her cooking? Because there is no way in hell. We also have a $50 donation from Rosamoon, who says, there once was a godling named Zag who picked up some meat in a bag, for it was his purpose to bring it to Cerberus, and boy did that puppy's tail wag.
Aww. All right, so let's see how they handle the Lerny fight here. I just heard them, they were whispering about like what order to initiate some of the stuff in, because in the Lerny fight, kind of what you start the fight with can really define a lot of the speed of that first little phase. And so they were just getting synchronized on that. Still doing very well, not taking very much damage though. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for this run is that if you just were to be watching it without knowing it was a 2P 1C run,
No chance.
I would have no idea. It's so impressive how in tune they are, and they're also obviously both very talented runners in their own rights.
Nice.
Lonely Vanquish. And also, that's a very impressive time, especially given that they weren't getting many skips or anything, so just it was like a 723 kill or something.
Yeah, that's very good. You're having some really high-level conversations here. Money, 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 money.
I thought about Acorn.
I was thinking about it too. And then
money is
better.
better. Yeah.
Money's better.
Money's always better.
You can buy health with money.
That's true.
Exactly.
You can also donate it.
Speaking of donations, got time for a few now.
Speaking of donations, we have $50 from Turberry and Tyrannosaurus X, who say, congrats on getting to the big GDQ stage. We're so proud of you, Arcalena and Trash Lapras. We gave the pets to Fundy, so give all the pets to Cerberus. We love you too.
Somewhere.
Thank you.
That's their cat, by the way.
That's our cat, yes.
Yeah.
They were babysitting for us.
So the reason that they were all a little bit nervous after that menuing sequence is we started with the hammer Flurry Jab, which essentially it changes your attack animation so you can hold attack, but most importantly, it also makes them come out a whole lot faster. So every time you dash strike, it basically gives you one free attack. So the issue with Serrated Point, which is another hammer, is it completely changes that animation, so you lose all of the benefits of Flurry Jab.
Oh, we have Hyper Sprint.
Yeah. That's fine. They're both good.
Yeah, so they've got an interesting build setup here. There are kind of two ways you can take Achilles. You can either go with Zeus on the attack and build into flat damage, and they're looking for Sea Storm here, I believe. I don't think they've picked up Storm Lightning yet.
We have.
Oh, they have.
They
So
did,
they're
yeah.
looking for either Sea Storm or Splitting Bolt, which are two very, very powerful duo and legendary boons from Zeus.
Never know. Save.
All right. Ooh.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, but epic static discharges is very good as well. Or you can take it with Artemis attack and you just build into a really, really big attack with crits and also build into secondary boons as well.
Yep. One of the reasons actually that Jolted is so good is actually relates to the heat settings that we're using. So you may have noticed that we're not running at 0 heat, we're running at 15 heat. For those of you who might not be quite as familiar with Hades, heat is just an option that makes the game harder. So for speedrunning, there actually are a few options.
So much Zeus, oh my god.
Eris players are
Literally.
jealous. But yeah, so there are a couple of options that we have selected that make the game faster, and one of them also relates to why Jolted is good. So Forced Overtime 2 makes enemies spawn in faster, move faster, and attack faster. Spawning in faster means we're waiting less for them to spawn in, which is obviously good for a speedrun. And then Jolted is a status effect that deals damage to enemies when they attack. So if they're attacking faster, then they are dealing damage to themselves faster. So that, again, helps us kill things.
You just want to roll here?
Yeah.
Double Strike's good.
Okay, yeah. You're right.
They keep being tempted to roll down the Zeus boons, but the Zeus just has so many good boons that they just keep being offered. Really good stuff. Zeus has a lot of synergy as well. Right now they've got Zeus on the attack and goodbye Hermes. And the call basically, and so all these additional Zeus boons they get apply and enhance both their attack and their call, and just are really adding to the damage overall. All right, let's see how they can handle this heroes fight. It's pretty difficult with Achilles just because you're getting hit a lot. There's a lot of stuff coming in, but I'm sure they'll have no problem. One useful thing about the call that you may not know is that for a brief period after you use your call, you're actually invincible, and so that can be really helpful in these fights, Hades fights, just to get a little bit of invincibility to dodge something and keep your damage going. So if you didn't know that, and excellent.
Read the shade? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, gotta thank the friendly shade.
One of our few fans in Elysium.
Time for a few more donations as we head into sticks.
There we go.
Absolutely. We have a $50 donation from Anonymous who says, a haiku. Roguelike underworld. Zag will see his first sunrise. Right head likes a pet. We also have $10 from Void Warden Alex, who says, 2 lesbians, 1 controller, maximum chaos. We also have $50 here from Hellsclam, who says, Hades and Bloodstained in a row, and then later even Resident Evil 2. Can this night be any better? I don't think so. What do you think, audience?
That's ironic because Styx is actually the only biome in the game where enemies do actually bleed, and all the other ones you're just sending them back to the underworld or whatever. But these rats do explode in little pools of blood.
Probably time for another couple donations while they finish out sticks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Check for Hermes.
We have $50 here from Huxley, who says, I have never seen a better expression of love than this 2P1C.
Here goes.
Yeah, and so you can normally only get 2 Hermes in a run, but you can get one in the end shop, and they checked for it. But it costs 500 gold, but they took this gold tunnel to be able to afford it. So we'll have a few that they had to ignore Hermes for a free room in Elysium, but we will get one more shot at either a high rarity rush delivery or some dashes.
We got just enough.
Barely. Really good random coin pot drops at the end.
Time to go shopping. Now, will they take dashes?
Yeah.
Okay, we're taking dashes. There's a little bit of a meme in the Hades community where, we want rush delivery. Rush delivery is 99% of the time it's the best. But sometimes you'll get offered like additional dashes, which is often pretty good. And there's some people that say, just take the dashes. Don't spend your rolls, just take the dashes.
I say take the dashes.
All right, this is it.
I'm Team RD on Achilles.
All right.
And most weapons.
Here we come for the final Hades fight. Let's see how they can do.
Yeah, and we'll have time in about 50 seconds when we're done. Hopefully less.
And so you can see them making the use of, they've now, instead of their 2 dashes that they started with, they've got 5. And so I'm sure you can see on the hand cam, just Clapper's just mashing away at the dash button. And just making good use of those, because like nnevic said, with Flurry Jab, you get additional attacks every time you dash, and you get additional damage with the dash, and so really just pumping it out. And all those extra instances of damage are charging the call. You can start to see how these builds really just synergize together as we go into the final phase here.
Try that again.
The other thing to note about the call is we really prioritize things like Zeus Call because it does damage while you're doing damage. So it's just an excellent extra source that they're making good use of here.
Oh, he got stuck in his lasers.
Not the bubble.
All right, now we just gotta, if you don't know, you gotta hug your dad for the lasers. He can't hurt you if you're hugging him.
No, you don't.
It's time.
I don't know what the camera is.
Yeah, that's Hades. Both 3 weapons race and 2 players, 1 controller. That was fun.
Yeah.
Highly recommend being at GDQ with your wife and racing and playing 2 players, 1 controller with her. Anyone you want to shout out?
So, of course, I want to shout out Lapras. She's my wife, but also she came into my stream one day and recommended I hang out more in the speed running community. And, it's just been great ever since, Couldn't wish for more.
And I'll shout out Arcalena, my wife. For just, I don't know, she's amazing. She's the best. I wouldn't be here without her. She definitely pushed me to do things like this, and I absolutely don't regret it. Also, just want to shout out all our friends and family and everyone that's donated about, that's great. Love y'all.
Shout out to our commentators, nnevic and cgull. Thank you, cgull, for also stepping in for Zyruvius, who donated at the beginning. Unfortunately, Zyruvius wasn't able to make it, so thank you, cgull, for stepping in.
Of course.
And again, shout out to GDQ and Prevent Cancer Foundation. Just wonderful cause, and we're so proud and grateful to be able to support y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all have Twitches?
Oh,
They show them on the screen,
Oh,
screen.
yeah.
And they're linked and stuff. But yeah,
You good?
that's all we got.
That's